It's Sound Design Day today, and I'm going to show you how to make one of my most used sounds from scratch on the brand new Serum 2. Welcome along to the Full Tilt Recordings YouTube channel again from sunny Donegal here in Ireland. And today I'm going to show you how to make a bass pad drone from scratch on the brand new Serum 2. As I said, I use this in a majority of my productions, and it's a really useful preset to have. Over the time, because I use it so much, I've kind of developed it so that I can use it as a bass pad or a drone or a Reese bass. And I suppose in recent times then I've kind of developed it and use it also as a kind of an assist to transitions and build-ups as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to use the Serum 2, which as a disclaimer, I'm not 100% confident in yet. I'm still getting to know a lot of the stuff that it's doing, like most of you guys out there, but I have been delving into it a little bit. So I'm going to actually show some of the kind of routing capabilities, how we can develop this bass pad so that it can be, if you like, a little bit of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to your productions. I'm going to include the preset in the description below for you to download and keep. But the point of this is for you to actually use the Serum, mess around with it, and maybe tweak it slightly then to suit your flavour and your taste and your style. Okay, here we go. So I've got an instance of Serum 2 loaded up here. Now this sound is pretty easy to get going and get something usable fairly quickly. The way I'm going to do it with you now today is, first of all, you could actually follow this on Serum 1 if you haven't upgraded yet. And as we develop the sound, I'm going to actually start incorporating some of the new features of Serum 2 in here. Starting off with the basic sawtooth. What I need to do is bring that right down for a second. I'll go to -2. Do we see here? Okay, nice bottom end on that. What we need to do now is just turn on the filter here. Take our MG, let's go MG low 24. Okay, a little bit of resonance on that. A little bit of drive. Okay, that's pretty nice there as a starting point for us. Yeah, and for this, I'm just going to keep it on mono because we're only going to be playing the one note at the time here. Now, for this part, I'm going to stick on oscillator 2 for now. Probably a little bit high. I'm also going to send that. So just by turning on B here, this will send this oscillator to the filter also. Okay, so you can hear the tone that's actually giving that a little bit on the top end. I'll just go an octave down, so it's still an octave above this oscillator. Okay, nice. Now, because this is a little bit sort of higher up in the frequencies and it's far enough away from this oscillator, I'm actually going to turn the unison on in this. I'll give it maybe 11. Okay, lovely. Now, so at the minute, I've just got that as a basic drone, and it is really that simple just to get yourself up and running. It can actually really work as a starting point for us. So, like, if that's just as effectively as a drone, so what I mean by a drone is just on the one note, if you put something quite airy on top of that again, which I have here, I'll just play it for you now. I'm going to knock off the drone. So it adds that real kind of seriousness to it and really sort of pulls everything together. So as I say, I use this type of sound a lot in intros and breakdowns, etc. I do use it sometimes as well as a bass line or maybe layering the bass line also. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm actually just going to play this. We're going to develop the sound a little bit more and I'm going to play it around the chords basically. So what I want to check now is just the actual envelope on it. Right, you can hear a small little tick there. Not sure if that's coming from the attack of the release, so we'll just actually give it a tiny bit of release and bring it up the attack just slightly. Lovely. Now, you know, just by raising the filter a slight bit, you can add a little bit more growl. You know, again, it's to taste and how it's fitting on your track. Yeah, so another way, what you might want to do here is actually put a little bit of porta on it, which will bend the notes as they change. Just giving that a little bit of bend. I'm not going to use it for this, but it's just showing you that you have that option to be available there. The other thing which you can do with this type of sound here is actually, if you want to give it a little bit of movement, and what we can do here is actually get an LFO to actually move the filter for us. So this is all kind of stuff that you can actually do in Serum 1 as well. So haven't actually delved too far into the capabilities of Serum 2 yet, but we will get there. If I'm putting an LFO on this, I never really want to push it too far or too drastic. If I'm using it, I'm only ever going to use it very subtly for this type of sound. Okay, so that's obviously too much, and I need to slow it down because it's going to be a pad. So even if I put it over 2 bars, it's going to create this shape over 2 bars. I'll just show you to you what it's like at this with a huge increase of about 55% there, sorry. Okay, I have it on retrig there, so it's actually going back every time it gets a new note. So I have this on a bar. That might be a little bit more suited to the way we want it. So what I'll do now is actually just bring it back to a kind of realistic percentage. So I'm below, I think I'm at 6% there at the minute. So again, if you want to just give it that little bit of movement, that's quite subtle, but it is actually quite nice. I think the key with this sound as well is that resonance there, so you can kind of hear it. It's just trying to find that sweet spot for the resonance. Yes, that's pretty nice there. Okay, that's that part done of it. Like, you know, that sound is so useful. Now, the way I've developed that sound in my own productions, you know, whenever maybe I'm doing a transition, say I'm in a mini breakdown or something, or even in the main breakdown, I've found myself automating the filter to really open up that pad sound to kind of add something, you know, within the track so that you're not adding in, you know, mad automation all the time, and it's something that's sort of already in the track that's kind of developing, you know, with the build-up, and it sounds like it should be there. So, you know, if this track was developing, I'll just play it in now with the music. You know, I'm just doing that sort of manually here, but like, you know, that really helps, you know, a push underneath your track if you are going from segment to segment. So I use that quite a lot now in my tracks, to have something within the track helping the transition. You know, maybe I might have some other sweeps in there, I might have, you know, snare rolls or drum fills or whatever I might have, but having that as an extra push underneath whatever other transitional elements that you're using, whenever it's organically in the track, and it sounds quite nice when you open that filter. Now, what I'm going to do now is actually develop this a little bit more. When I was thinking about this tutorial today and the new Serum 2, I want to try and make this useful for me and for you guys as well, so that I can have the preset and so can use, and ways that I use it in my production. And with that in mind, the way I use it for my build-ups, I thought, why not try and develop the top end of this preset so that whenever I am doing that, it's offering me a little bit more. I'm going to put on oscillator 3, which we didn't have in Serum 1, and let's this time just go a Juno. I'm an octave -2 for oscillator A, and I'm octave -1 for oscillator B, and I'm octave 0 for oscillator C. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, now I do want this, I'm kind of thinking ahead, so I basically want this for a top end texture. Okay, so I'm just going to add some unison onto this as well to make it nice and wide. Okay, lovely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some noise here. Let's try the Juno chorus. Just turn it up so you can hear it. Normally you might route, this oscillator here and the noise here. So you could actually use that as an effect. But to me, it kind of, I suppose that's why I've never done it before. I didn't have an extra oscillator. So basically what we can do in Serum 2 here, I'm not going to send this anywhere, right? So what happens now is that ain't going nowhere. So we can't hear anything, right? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it up. We'll give it 50% to bus 1, okay? And we'll do the exact same thing with the Juno. We're going to give that 50% to bus 1 also. So now routing wise, that means that this is not going, it's not going out to the main output. It is actually just going to bus 1. So now we're going to delve in to the effects section and the mix section. So on our main section, I haven't actually touched the main body, the first 2 oscillators yet. We'll get around to that in a second. So usually when I'm doing that, I might just add a little bit of distortion on here. So let's concentrate on the effects for these 2 first, for oscillator A and B, okay? So that's all this is doing. So we're just looking for the effects for oscillator A and oscillator B. Just to give it a little bit of bite. Diode 1 maybe. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Pull the res back a little bit just in case, because we have a bit of res on the main filter. Yeah, that's really, really nice. Just adjust my mix, do you see? That will really help it pop out of the mix as well. So what we can do now, once we turn these oscillators back on again, is if we go to the mix section, so we know that these are not getting sent to the main output at the moment. They're actually getting sent to bus 1, which now in the new Serum, we've got a bus over here now. So once I press play and turn up this bus, there's our sounds there. Completely separate from the other 2 oscillators, which now makes this quite handy to sort of manipulate. So if we go to our effects section here now and go to bus 1, I'm going to add a few different effects now to just oscillator 3 and the noise. So what we're going to do first, just adding a little bit of distortion to get a little bit of bite. I'm going to add a delay. And let's go ping pong. I'm going to need quite a bit of feedback. You'll see why now shortly. I'm also going to add a little bit of reverb. We'll go vintage, increase the size. Increase the mix. Okay, we're getting there. And last thing what I'll do then is, last 2 things, going to have an EQ with a high pass. Keep the Q down. I'm going to set this so that it's above where my filter is, my main filter is. And I'm going to get one more filter. So I'm going to have a filter just for this. So just for my bus. So I'm going to set this to low 24 also. Right, so you can see now I'm actually, with this filter on here, I'm getting that sort of sweep effect. The beauty about this now is that these two, the oscillator C and the noise are completely independent from oscillator A and B. So if we want to use this now as part of our build-ups, what we could do is if we pull the filter down on this, and we also put the filter down on this, which is our bus 1. So currently I've got the filter down here, and I've also got the filter down on my effects channel on bus 1. So what we can actually do is if we send a little macro, so just apply a little macro here, and we'll call this filter control. Filter's fine. And we can also send it to this filter cutoff. We can set this back to our normal level now. That's kind of the way that I would normally have it now whenever it's in the track, when I'm just using it as a pad. But now if I want to, you know, add that as a little bit of a build-up to my track, I'm actually controlling the filter on the oscillator separately for the noise and the oscillator C, and it's also controlling the oscillator for A and B also. Now whenever I open this up, when I'm actually, if I want to use this as part of a build or transition as well, so we can hear that noise there that's adding something a little bit extra, but to me it's a little bit low there at the moment. So I'm actually going to increase my send to this bus. I'll give them both about 3 o'clock there. There we go now. So as we go here now, excellent. So we can hear the noise and we can hear that Juno oscillator there as well. So I'm going to play the track here. So this is kind of all my pads without the drone pad on it. Put the drone pad in. Have turned up a little bit louder for the tutorial purposes, but you can see that that just sort of knits everything together there perfectly. Now, what I do with this in my tracks now, and this is kind of why I want to develop this a little bit more than just, you know, a bass pad, if you like. So if we imagine we're kind of maybe in a transition here in the track, what I would tend to do, and why I've put this extra oscillator in there and noise, and I've got this controlling both those filters. I'm going to play the track now, and this is what I would tend to do. So you can hear with that delay and the noise really comes out there. That helps you make your own transition with something that's already in the track. What I might actually do is increase the feedback and the mix a little bit as well on this, just to get that delay popping out a little bit more. Yeah. There's a lovely tail on that as well. So that's an extra little something that we can do with a bass pad to really incorporate it into our tracks that little bit more. So using a sound in there and developing that actual sound so that it ties in a little bit better to our track. Hope you all enjoyed this tutorial today and exploring some of the new features on Serum 2. and ways that we can learn to maybe incorporate some extra textures and extra expandability that is in Serum 2 now. And if you did get something from this video today, please like and subscribe to the channel so you'll get some future tutorials from us here as well. And we'll have this preset available in the description below, but you can also get future presets and older stuff on my Patreon. And if you'd like to book me for any audio services, the link will also be in the description below. Thanks everybody for listening. See you all again soon.